So there was this dude who had made this video on TikTok, and I guess he's like a traveler or something. I don't really think he's homeless. Maybe he was before, but I didn't really look in his videos like that. Didn't really seem like he was homeless though. But I don't know. I just have to watch more videos, I guess. Honestly, what it really looks like is that he's like one of those rich, not rich, but like somebody with money that's trying to like spread awareness of the homeless crisis. But of course, I don't want to make too many assumptions. But that's what it looked like. And so, in the video, he was saying that homelessness is a big issue in Cali, and he had showed how like the states where the cost of living is the highest has the most homeless people. And he was saying that the issue is because of rent being high, and that then he had showed somebody's comment where they said that it was because of people being on drugs, which I mean, of course, that's some bull crap. But like I already said in a couple other videos, yeah, the rent is getting high. That has something to do with a couple a couple of agendas. The rents went up pretty much everywhere, but like, of course, some places worse than others. And what was the other thing I was gonna say? I don't even remember. But wait a minute. Okay. Uh, I had to move a little bit, but what was I saying? Oh, this is gonna be the usual video. Okay, so, anyways, I left a comment. I don't even remember exactly what I said, but I do know that what I did say is that the rent thing is an issue, but that's really not the overall, like, root cause to homelessness. The root cause to homelessness is the breakdown in the family system, and then the other issues, like the high rent agenda, that comes after that, which, if you know about the real point of prices going up, isn't just because the US dollar failing, it's because they want to push out the middle class. And really, they only want the 1% to have anything. And I mean the 1% in any country. And of course, it's really bad for the people who already, quote unquote, didn't have anything. And I say quote unquote because people consider materialistic stuff not having anything. But of course, some people, due to like companies coming in their countries and stealing because their leaders or their kings and presidents or whatever let them, they already were in very, very bad predicaments. More than some others. But anyway, so there's that little side note. I said that, and it's almost like the dude got mad and he felt like I was trying to like start an argument or like knock what he was saying. And I was like, I'm not knocking what you're saying. What you're saying is still true, but that's not the overall root cause. There's a deeper reason why some people have been running around, quote unquote, in the streets or living in the woods since they were 13 by themselves. And it's not because of high rent. But of course, that's still an issue, but that's not the root issue. And I mean, someone under 18 can't even rent a place anyway. Unless they find somebody who really doesn't care. It's kind of sketchy that's renting places. Which, I mean, I haven't met many people who were lucky enough to find something like that, or even lucky enough to find an under the table job. And I mean, a safe job to be able to even have the type of money for something like that. Like, I've really heard. There's this one story from somebody that ran away to Mexico some years back and found some family that let them live with them and work for them. But then I heard one story that I really remember from someone who stayed in the US who had to run away from their abuse situation. They found somebody who was nice enough to let them work under the table for their family business for $13 an hour, which was a lot of money where they stay. or where they stayed. But you can rarely find something like that, and of course, as laws have changed over time, even being able to get into some rental space underage has just gotten harder and harder. And of course, like I said, unless you find something risky and sketchy. So yeah, there's that. But I don't know, he kept trying to make it into an argument. That's not what I was trying to do. I wasn't even trying to make it into a debate or any of that. I was just like kind of putting that out there. Wasn't trying to make it how he was trying to make it, but it really just gave the vibe that he's just another person that's trying to like push some narrative for likes and views or something, but doesn't really care about the situation. And I was talking about the moral aspect of all of it when it comes to like how people are treated and even how people want to like lie about the real reasons people end up out here. Because I was like, even with prices being high, if it wasn't for the breakdown in the family system and there was like families actually living together and everybody's working and stuff, they, I mean, they could probably still afford even the high stuff, but of course, prices that aren't like really crazy. But the thing is, we live in a place where people commonly don't know how to raise kids. They either infantilize them, which I mean, that's a form of abuse, so I won't even use that one. They either coddle them so much to where they're not even prepared for the real world by the time they're 18. Not that that's really full grown anyway, but there's that. Or they just abuse and traumatize them so much to where it makes it hard for them to even really be able to do anything in life because of all the issues that causes and even the physical health issues it could leave you with. But yeah, so in a place where we commonly do that, and I'm sure a lot of other places do too, and we also like to do the whole kick out at 18 thing, even younger. I think though, like, people need to stop pretending that the issue is just about rent or even that the issue just started. Because, I mean, like I already said, people commonly first end up homeless by themselves somewhere from age 7 to 16. And of course, you're never going to hear that anywhere. I'm honestly the only person I've ever seen talking about this on video. Sure, you may be able to like see people's stories about it in support groups or maybe on websites or some documentary or something, but you're never actually going to hear anyone admit this because people in the U.S. like to like keep stuff hidden that they feel makes the country look bad or whatever. Not to mention, someone who's homeless under 18 is going to have to spend all their time hiding anyway, so that way they don't get arrested and thrown into the cash for kids system. Like, even the people where the police don't try to, like, kidnap them to throw them into, like, a CPS or some mental facility or something, they still spend a lot of their childhood homeless years getting thrown in and out of jail for no reason. And it's really common in the West Coast because quote unquote street kids is a common thing in the West Coast. So there's a lot of people who were abandoned or whatever at 12 or some other age or kicked out at 7 and stuff like that who just kept getting thrown in jail over and over again for no reason. And like this one dude I met him way before I came to the West Coast though, but this one dude I met, he ended up with no choice but to eventually go into the military, which of course that messed him up even more. And now he's a narc and addicted to meth. But yeah, so I actually mentioned him in the Truth of the Homeless Population Part 1 video. But it's like somewhere near the end where I mention him. Because like I was reading off a list. But yeah, so anyway, back to the quote unquote argument or whatever. The dude was like, I feel like society's gotten more immoral than it was in the past, honestly, or something like that. And I just didn't even respond because it's like he was, I don't know. I don't even really feel like he was just reading it wrong. I feel like he just had his own, like, agenda at hand with the content he was making and why he was doing it. And that's the thing. even though people like that say the talking points that everybody wants to hear, which is that the homeless crisis is caused by high rent, people like that still obviously don't care if they have that type of reaction if somebody added in more details to the issue. Honestly, it's been a long overlooked thing. And I mean, like I told him, I mean, it's definitely true that there are less homeless people in areas where the rent is lower. But in areas where the rent is lower, like when I lived in North Carolina, I mean, there were still some. You really didn't see homeless people like that there. And of course, like, well, I mean, I did meet some, but that was more so when I was walking around because they're definitely hidden. But yeah, you really don't. But it's like, due to all the social conditioning, the psyops, and the brainwashing, it's like a lot of people who do have housing there, well, some of them anyway, the only reason they even have housing is because of Section 8 and the whole social conditioning that convinced people that it was a good idea to just run around having babies with no husband, not even knowing a relationship is supposed to be like. And the thing with that too is that that means that women can get that type of housing help easier, but then for the dudes it's kind of whatever for them. And another thing with that is there's the issue of hidden homelessness in areas like that where the rent is lower. Cause for one, there's a lot of overcrowding. So like a whole bunch of people squeezed into a 1 bedroom place that they got with a voucher. So like four four plus kids sharing a 1 bed. In fact, no. When I lived in this one project in North Carolina, I had this friend and her aunt or something. Okay, wait a minute. The dad, he was, I don't know what that situation was, but he was like super duper old, way older than the mom. I don't know what in the world happened there, but the mom didn't seem to like him, so I wonder. Now I'm going somewhere else. I don't know. There was some weird stuff with that, but anyway, the dad, he had like a lot of health issues, so he slept like in some type of fold out electric couch thing in the front room. This was a 1 bedroom, by the way. The mom, the two daughters, and the cousin or aunt or something like that all slept in one bed in the 1 bedroom. That's the issues that people don't talk about where things are quote unquote affordable. And then eventually the mom moved into a brand new place and then abandoned the dad there. I don't really know how that worked. Whole bunch of, I don't even know really what was going on there. But I don't know, I'll never know. But yeah, so there's one situation I can mention, but this was really common. And then another thing in areas like this, at least depending on how the red line is set up, at least, the affordable areas are all the projects in the hood where there's a whole bunch of social conditioning and like generational curses and principalities of dysfunction all over the place. So there's that. So then it's like you're there, but you really want to get out of there, but you can't because you don't really have any money. Then commonly there's no jobs in these areas either. Or the jobs that are there don't pay a lot because I mean the minimum wage for NC is $7.50, and somehow, somewhere in the world, the minimum wage in Georgia is $8.50. I don't even know how in the world, because I mean, some of the prices in Georgia are almost like Cali, but well, I mean the rent anyway. So that's really, I don't really know what to say about that, but I mean, of course, a lot of people still make more than that there though because they go to college and stuff. But well, sometimes that does something. But there's a lot of mess with that though, because I mean, with how that area is, it's a whole bunch of like Freemason, Luciferian, Greek letter, college cult stuff though. So it's like the usual trick where they make people feel like to be able to have something, you have to like do these weird rituals and sell out and sign your name on a contract and almost die in hazing rituals and jump around with your butt out for 50 minutes straight in a group of guys. There was actually a video of that went viral in the early 2000s. I don't think it's up anymore though. But that was some Greek letter Freemason school. But it was the Freemason one, so it was the guys, and then the girls were the females, or whatever. They're the Eastern Star. So yeah, that's the issue with Georgia though. So it's like people get stuff, but they're dragged down a pipeline that actually just makes things so much worse for all of us. But that's kind of a whole nother topic. But yeah, so there's that. I did meet some people though that were doing pretty good. Like I remember this one dentist. She was like, she definitely didn't go to a Greek letter college because she was like, no, I'm not into all that weird mess. But yeah, so there's that. Kind of relevant, but there's that. So I don't really know. It's like he definitely has to be getting something out of making the content he's making, cause like I don't really know why he's so dead set on that one narrative, cause it's like high rent is an issue, but I mean, what about the people who have been out here for forever and a day? Then they're broken and traumatized, and they've been out here since way before things really started to go downhill. Or like, what about the people who do have the money, but like can't even find a place because of the housing shortage in their area? And oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I even had said a good amount of the people that I've met on the West Coast aren't even from here. People move here, and even runaways. People doing the Layla till 18 thing, they move to the West Coast, especially Cali, because of it supposedly has better laws for runaways. I don't know about all that. Maybe for people, it depends on the situation, I guess. I guess it depends on like if you're able to get emancipated or if you don't have a missing persons report out. I don't know, but yeah, a lot of people move here because the weather is more predictable. Unlike being on the East Coast and like not knowing when it's gonna rain and when it's not gonna rain, or being on the East Coast and it being super hot. It's really hot in some places here, over here too, especially like the lower part of the Midwest, from what was it, Texas across to Arizona, super hot. Was it Arizona? Yeah. So oh yeah, from being really hot on the East Coast or it raining every day and your tent flooding every day, because that's something I had to deal with, constantly having to pour out my tent and trying to sleep while being in puddles of waters. Luckily, it's a miracle I didn't get sick, to be honest. I'm surprised I didn't, but yeah, definitely lucky, because a lot of people do end up getting pneumonia. But yeah, so more people trying to jump around the real issue. And I mean, it makes sense though, because people who don't really want to fix issues and just want to say things to look good or tickle people's ears or whatever, or tickle their own ears, they don't want to hear about the real root issue with society in general. They don't. I mean, let's be honest. What he probably really wanted to say is that none of the stuff that I'm saying is true, and that there aren't people running around here who are 12 and 14 and 7 years old. I mean, I've even heard people having to start running away as young as 5, although, in the specific story that comes to mind, this lady would, of course, end up getting found by the police because she wasn't that good at hiding yet, and the police would take her back home and she would go through the guilt trip and all that from the police. But she did eventually successfully run away by 13, and then she ended up in labor trafficking where she had to sell products door to door with a whole bunch of other kidnapped kids. But she did end up getting out though. Which that's something to keep in mind, because people always want to talk about like sex trafficking, even though the people who do that or try to like scare people with that usually won't even admit that global SRA sex trafficking is what it is. They commonly just think about like the prostitution part. which can sometimes even be separate things, but they can be connected. But they always want to say that like there's not other types of trafficking. Kind of reminds me of the Reddit mods that I always delete my posts where I warn people about that. Yet there's like honestly, I want to make my own support group for people who are like having to do the lay low till 18 thing, but it's like I'm not really in a position to really be able to help somebody myself, obviously. But I would want to at least make a good support group where I actually warn people about the real issues instead of being one of those people who deletes posts because I don't feel like that's true. Or I feel like something's a conspiracy theory, or because I don't like people talking about where I'm from. Because that's what it seems like it is with the Reddit mods, which I've mentioned in other videos. Because it's like I warn people about trafficking and like the worst times to try to leave their abuse situation due to trafficking. That gets deleted for quote unquote misinformation. But then the crazy thing is, the mods will play victim and act dumb when they get backlash after somebody from who was on that site gets kidnapped. Which I already have I have two videos about a specific situation where I mention other ones, I think, that I've seen happen on there throughout the years. But anyway, they delete that. They deleted my post where I warned about all the different racist stuff that I went through. Because of course, for one, I'm pretty sure they're from like Cali or something, so it makes them feel even more mad. And of course, the people in like the fake white savior left side of left right mind hurting, they always they feel really offended when somebody calls out the fact that they're not really about what they say they are, which should be obvious. Because I mean, anybody that thinks that putting the color black and brown on LGBTQ flag is an example of not being racist. I don't know. But anywho, because I'm going off somewhere else. Honestly, that's just straight up pro buck buck breaking right there. That whole thing they did with the flag. But before I go off into somewhere else, I really would like to make my own, like, I don't know, support group or something, but a real support group. Also, one where help can actually be offered, real help, so people don't have to, like, throw themselves into dangerous situations. Although the thing is, the systems want people to be cash cows who are getting trafficked around and abused. So they don't want there to be any real help out there. And that's why it can become illegal. And then when you really do help people, they try to frame you as a bad guy, make you seem like you're doing something to somebody's kids or something. But of course, the real molesters, the ones who have these, who are kidnapping these kids and luring them in, they just get to walk about their life. Does that make sense? I don't know. Is that a saying? Walk about their, I don't think I'm saying it right. Go on about their day, something like that. So, yeah.